Hello there, commanders, and welcome to the last match of round 1 of the National Cup between Ukraine and Poland. We are again on Rubicon, so it is the second time that is a map of choice for one of the teams. Let's switch out the fog of war and let's see what both teams are up to. We see one unit of cavalry being sent by the Polish team here in the center, countered by 2 units of cavalry and a sword unit of the Ukrainians. Oh, we are already going to get a charge over here. Let's quickly see. Oh, it catches as Wrath of Mars is a much longer charge, but it's a little bit too long and runs into a wall, pulling out a dogbird. Anyway, let's see. 9 units of infantry, even more, 11 being sent to the right flank from the Polish team, looking to be quite equally matched by the Ukrainian team. 6 units of melee units and 3 units of ranged repeating crossbows. The unit of cavalry in the center got very quickly obliterated. An elephant being sent by the Polish team to see, then to contest. It should be able to hold there for quite a while. Another elephant over here. That is a very advantageous position for the Polish team to fight in here, as they do hold the watchtower. Well, not at the moment, but they have the ability to do so. And just flank in this area very easily, because the Ukrainian team is pretty much blind in here, in that is tall grass. So it's all the perfect opportunities for the Folksmen and cavalry to find flanks and route the units one by one. Let's see if they will be able to do that. A recharge over here into swords, quite decent damage. Another unit of cavalry going to charge. Folksmen just sort of hanging around and not really flanking, which is weird. Let's see what happens here. A contest between swords and an elephant on top of sea that is still locked for 1.5 minutes. And here quite equal trades back and forth between the Polish and Ukrainian teams. Here on the left flank from the Ukrainian perspective. Oh, one unit of spears routed in here. Not really moving, so just being cut down slowly. Very nicely of them to not retreat and just feed the kills to the enemy. That is very considerate. Another fight here, so both sides quite equal, but let's see, this is quite a more interesting one. Well, the Polish team is actually looking to win this fight, so that this is a very, very good position for them to fight in on this hill. Well, they would need to hold the watchtower for that to be the case, but still, a lot of flanking can happen in here, as it's just much open ground, no cliffs at all, as opposed to this side. But, Polish team has missed the fact that he is being back-upped. Now cavalry from the Polish team charges in at the very, very last second and starts contesting. The elephant needs to get there just to make sure that it is going to be properly contested. Can it be flipped? Oh, very, very close. Let's see if the Polish team can make it in time. It is being captured. Still contested, captured, contested. And there we go. Elephant made it at the very, very last second. You cannot see the blue in there holding the point, but the red holding the point. See, it's so hard to tell because it's just no color in there. Okay, so the elephant from the Polish team is also now contesting B. So the Polish team is slightly ahead in points because of the contests being triggered earlier, let's say. Oh, no, sorry, the Ukrainian team is ahead. Sorry, yeah. That is that's more correct. So C is still being contested between one elephant and one infantry unit, and it is looking to go the way of the elephant. But obviously the Ukrainian team is not going to let that slide, and they're already sending reinforcements, one spear unit and one student coming into C. And the Polish team doesn't really look like they're sending any reinforcements of their own. The elephant is holding the cavalry though. Cavalry is going back to hill, and it's also being sent to C. But well, in the fight between cavalry and infantry usually wins, especially when it comes to contesting the points. The Polish team has cut down the last unit here of the Ukrainian team, and now they're going to go back to E to heal up. They do realize that they have a lot of ground to cover in here, and the Ukrainian team has probably healed up, which is the case. And they are just using the elephant to contest the point and deny the point gain for the Ukrainian team. And well, they're doing the same here on E. But we'll see who will be able to cut down the contesting unit sooner. Well, the elephant is now retreating, so he's no longer contesting. 2 points per second for the Ukrainian team now. And the cavalry reinforcements have already arrived, as well as the infantry reinforcements. Let's see, one cavalry charging to here, straight into swords. There's absolutely nothing, as the swords were able to take it frontally. But there is also a blob of spears incoming, and we'll see if it will be able to deal enough damage, but the Ukrainian team is also committing quite heavily to C. So we saw equal engagements of both flanks from both teams. Both of them failed to capture the opposing side's points, so they all have just gone back, heal up, rinse and repeat essentially. But now the landscape has changed a little bit because C has been enabled for capture. Recover here, quite caught off guard, out of position, surrounded, not flanked, but already lost half of HP. Nicely done by the Ukrainian team. So let's see, actually I could remove that. I'm a noob. I definitely should have done that, but whatever. In contest of C, the Polish team is slowly being pushed out. If the Ukrainian team can utilize their spearmen to push out the Polish team out of C and prevent any more reinforcements from the Polish team coming in, and they will be able to secure C for themselves. But we already see additional 2 units of cavalry coming in for the Polish team and 3 into Foxmen, another unit of cavalry making their way over there. Elephants will probably join in soon as well. So Poland is looking to commit a lot of resources towards C. The Ukrainians are pushing E though. They do have the watchtower. They see that this is really not much in the area. There's only 1 player of swords in here, and well, elephants are healing up as well. But just look at that contest from the Polish team. They're sending a lot of units in here, getting all flanks really nicely. Oh, the reformers. Okay, that was troll. That was charged into friendly cavalry. But whatever. And now the Ukrainian blob on C is surrounded, slowly being routed and cut down, but they're sending the reinforcements of their own. They do have 1 unit of infantry in here. Cavalry is going to look for some recharges. That has been interrupted by the Polish cavalry. It was a quite nice move. Cavalry also holding off reinforcements of swords, but obviously it won't be able to do so for long now. It is being disengaged to help the other allied cavalry. Charges being used to intercept. Polish team has managed to win that charge, and the other cavalry unit is now retreating. The Ukrainian team has made its way out, rather than from D and trying to attack D. They realize that it's really fight with the windmills, thanks to the healing zone that the Poland has. They're sending even more and more reinforcements to C as the fight over there is equal, as neither of the side has any healing zones in the area. So the more you commit there, the higher the chance you get C and you get the advantage going forward. That being said, E is being contested, which means only 1 point per second gained by the Polish team, while the Ukrainian team still gets 2 points per second. And a powerful repeating crossbow volley into the blob of the Polish team that was contesting C, well, still is. Only 2 Ukrainian units. Oh, that is going to get me so much hate, I'm sorry for that. I just casted the Russian battle, okay? And they were blue as well. So forgive me for that. I think I also called a Spanish team French team as well. Yeah. So there's that. But anyway, only 1 unit of Ukrainian team left alive or not routed on top of C. The cavalry is just passing by, using a charge to intercept. Ooh, yeah, the Polish charge was a little bit too late. But only 1 last unit, barely alive, left on point C. Can the Polish team kill it quickly enough and prevent any additional reinforcements from coming in? The spears are being used to chase away the repeating crosses. I think that is a mistake. Just let them shoot you. All you need to do is get C and capture C. So that is quite a mistake. The cavalry is now being used to get the crossbow, so maybe they'll send the infantry to contest C, because that's what they need to do. The infantry is almost cut down. It still doesn't want to retreat. Well, it is Scipio in oath. So the Ukrainian is sending 3 Scipio units here, using Warcry, which will rout all the wavering units from the Polish side, and 2 units of spearmen are approaching. The Polish team really needs to hurry with cutting down these units of the Ukrainians on top of the point. So another misplay that we could see here by the Polish team, failing to capture the point, focusing on chasing quite pointlessly some repeating crossbows. And now the Ukrainian team has put spears on top of C, aiming to contest it. 2 points per second for both teams, but the Polish team is now contesting A. So now they're going to flip the dynamic and start getting more points per second for themselves. That being said, it's still just 1 point per second versus 2 points per second, so the battle is very much equal. Cavalry has gone out, but the infantry has gone in. But Yes, found itself in a quite a bad spot, quite easily could be surrounded. There we go, a flank should be applied. Hey, there we go, it is. Black flank has been applied, but is obviously not enough. There is a possibility of surrounding here, but the Ukrainian team chooses not to do that. Polish team is also sending some reinforcements to C, Ukrainian team responding in kind. Meanwhile, on the other flank, elephants again being sent to contest D, but D is being held by 3 units. They're just passing each other here. Cavalry is also being sent, but yeah, cavalry and elephants is not going to defeat 3 units of infantry. That is not going to happen. But well, they do not know that. They will know that now. The elephant will spot 3 units. We'll see if the cavalry will change its mind. Even the elephant is sort of changing its mind. Yeah, the cavalry is being called off, seeing that it is pointless. C contest is still going on. Ukrainians are sending more and more reinforcements over here. And C and B are being contested. B is contested just by an elephant, but that means 2 points per second for the Polish team, and the Polish team is still quite close to here to A, but that attack has been stopped in its tracks. Repeating Cross is actually recalling just to get closer to C quicker. A very interesting move. Cavalry from the Ukrainian team being sent towards D, only 1 unit defending there for the Polish team. Polish team has also respawned 6 units here, just healed up at their base, sending them to C. So it is still going to be all about that C, at least for the foreseeable future. Another cavalry charge here into, well, front of infantry, so that is not going to work that well. You really do need infantry in here. Oh, repeating crossbows now finding a really nice volley into cavalry, cutting them down, making sure that the infantry can get onto the point as quickly as possible. As this is now being held back by the cavalry. And there we go, that forces the cavalry to run away. It may rout, no, not flank applied, but war cry applied, and this is enough as the unit was wavering. That cavalry is dead, and it won't be brought back as the cavalry player has went somewhere. He's going to the right flank, trying to reinforce the defense of D, but he's being held by 3 units of infantry and 1 unit of cavalry. The Ukrainians have 4 units of infantry of their own and 2 units of cavalry, so they do have a slight advantage. Polish team is reinforcing that, even though they do have access to the healing zone. We'll see if the Ukrainian team will look to deny that, and maybe their attack onto onto D will be successful. He is also unprotected by the Polish team, and the Ukrainian team is going to put 1 unit on there. It will be contested. Maybe the unit will be prevented. We'll see if they will stop on the edge. C, in the meantime, slowly going in favor of the Ukrainian team, as they do have quite a lot of forces in the area, and slowly cutting down anything that remains there for the Polish team. The Ukrainian team is also trying to prevent the Polish team from getting back on top of E, but they also need to stay to keep capturing. Another unit of swords is coming back. The elephant is also coming back, but it doesn't have much HP. There we go, Polish team managed to contest it, but the hoplite phalanx can push them out, and that's what it does. So E is now being slowly captured by the 1 unit. The swords are coming. Polish team is still trying to contest, but C is about to be captured by the Ukrainian team. And the Ukrainians, they do it correctly. They do not care about friendly fire. All it matters is removing this unit from the point. This is what they're doing. But the 2 units of the Polish team, cavalry, have managed to get on top of the point. But that is just cavalry. It is going to be cut down quite quickly. Another really nice volley into that cavalry. Off of Perseverance being used, so it will buy some time. But the repeating crossbows do not care about Off of Perseverance. They're exposing their back. That unit is cut down very quickly, very skillfully by the Ukrainian team. And finally, after quite a violent fight put up by the Polish team, the Ukrainians reign superior over C. Now they have captured 3.3 points per second for the Ukrainian team, while 0 points per second for the Polish, as both D and E are contested. The Polish team is sending reinforcements of Folksmen towards D and sending 1 unit over to the watchtower, trying to see if A is being defended, but even if it is, it can still be contested to deny the point gain for the Ukrainian team. Now the Polish team is looking to apply some flanks and route some units here as well. They are not really in an advantage. Slowly are, but they also got 1 of their units routed. Let's see, D actually may start being captured. If you just push out these units just a little tiny bit, the D capture could start. There we go, it started for a very brief while. There we go, now it is being captured. The Polish team needs to actually get their front lines together and push through, start contesting. but instead the Foxmen are retreating instead of pushing through. But well, the Ukrainian infantry is also retreating, allowing the Polish infantry in. So D is going to be contested, E is contested as well. The Polish team has respawned quite significant forces in here. So the Valiant team, but that point E, even though the Ukrainian team advance is going to be stopped, they did buy a lot of time of contesting, so that means the Polish team wasn't getting points in that time frame. But the battle is still very close, and we may still see the Polish team coming back. We'll see if that is going to be the case. Let's see, the Foxmen of the Polish team are going towards the A point, but they're also sort of retreating. Sorry, not A. Oh, it is A. Okay, said it correctly. But now the Foxmen are being called off. The attack on A looks like it is being called off, and it is being launched on C instead. Well, they do have, technically, the base healing zone is the closest to any point they have. So the healing zone at D, or the base itself, is much further away from A. Same the case for B. So C looks like the easiest point to capture for the Polish team. So they're making the right decision, trying to collapse on that. Also, it can be attacked from multiple flanks. It is in a nice open terrain. So the Polish cavalry, 4 units of it, versus only just 2 units of cavalry of the Ukrainian team, can find a lot of open spaces in there, trying to get some good charges. Let's see, they're launching an attack on the healing zone, starting from that. So, I mean, they're walking sort of towards B, so we'll see what the Polish team is actually up to. I do think that the best chance they have right now to coming back into this battle is just fighting for C, holding C, 3 points, D, C, and E, trying to win that way, but instead they're going to the base, which is not available to capture. It is very interesting. A charge here, trying to be dodged, charge used to dodge, and the infantry is making their way over to B, so they're trying to get B. They see that C is quite heavily defended, so they are going to contest with elephants and Foxmen. The Foxmen are not very good at contesting the points, as they're quite light infantry. They rely on skirmish tactics, quickly surrounding and routing the enemy. That is not going to be the case here. So the Foxmen potential kind of being wasted. They should have been sent here to B. But the Polish team is trying to come back to the game by capturing B and holding one side, while obviously still trying to hold D. The Ukrainian team is kind of reading that and launching their own attack on D. Let's see. 5 units of infantry here for the Polish side. 4, 5, 6 units of infantry for the Ukrainian side, supported by 3 units of repeating crossbows. So the Ukrainian team plays that correctly, or rather, if the Polish team plays that incorrectly, they may lose in here. The healing zone is going to be denied by Ukrainian swords. C is still looking kind of equal, no advances there, and the Ukrainians have access to the healing zone. Let's see how the bet of the Polish team is going to capture D. They do have just 2 idle units of cavalry. One of them is denying the healing, the other one is just looking at what is happening. They really do need to commit all the units here as possible, get all the flanks possible, start routing the units and killing them. Let's see, is this Guan Yu? It is Guan Yu, so access to God of War is there. Tenacity of Steel also increase the morale, so these units will be difficult, but the Polish team has Scipio that can apply War Cry. Roar from the Elephant also is available. So there you go, now the morale is dropping as the God of War has expired. The cavalry is in Oath of Perseverance. They realize that there's nothing really healing or respawning in there, as all the players from the Ukrainian team are alive. The Polish forces here at the are being obliterated. They are not even trying to heal. So the Ukrainian team is going to capture D. So the way to come back for the Polish team into the match is being denied, and the Ukrainian team is giving some taste of their own medicine to the Polish team, as they have managed to capture D. Well, they'll soon do that. That's over, but the Polish team realizes they have pulled out of the contest of C. They also realize that they're not going to win there. They have respawned here at the base and are pushing towards D, but that is much late. D is now flipped, is going to be captured, and thousands of Foxmen, cavalry and whatnot they're going to send in there is not going to be able to recapture it back. E is now also being contested by the Ukrainian team. The Polish team also isn't looking too strong here, so the only way they can win this particular engagement of this flank is capturing B faster than the Ukrainian team captures E. And it's going to be a race. They do have an Oath of Perseverance in here, cavalry and Oath. but it is against spears. One of the spears will be routed though. Let's see, that cavalry of the Ukrainian team is also enough, that's why it's moving so slowly. There's only one of swords left in here on B. Can the Polish team rout them? Oh no, they also have glaives. The glaives are now going to be, no, not routed, not yet. They do need a war cry here or roar. There we go. That was a flank, and it wasn't too long, but they routed the bigger unit, the more important one. Now they're routing both, and one of them coming back. The off cavalry is still here, 2 soldiers left. There we go, right flank. Well, that's not going to rout them, they just need to kill it. You know, on E, okay, the Polish team has 2 off cavalries in there, so they are going to hold it. And now E is going to be locked, so points for the Polish team will flow once the B is flipped, and the points from B will also be flowing to the Polish team. But that will still be controlling only 2 points, and the Ukrainian team, after healing up, after getting D, they're already in a Polish base. 6 units capturing versus only 1 defending, and that 1 unit is also being chased away. So the Polish team not looking too hot at the moment. You have respawned 6 units of infantry of their own, but the entrances to the base are going to be defended by the Ukrainian team. They need to fight them at the edge or just slightly outside, even at the cost of getting their own units out, just to make sure the Polish team has no way back into their own base. Polish team is still contesting C. They could pull back and try to enter the base from the back, but they will just be pursued by the Ukrainian team, so they are quite in a predicament. And that force that captured B is now healing up. The Ukrainians are not taking chances, and look at 4 units committed to defend the base from any potential push from the Polish team. It is a possibility to try to go for a base race for the Polish team, but looks like instead they're choosing to recall. They're keeping only 1 unit of swords in there, 1 player, and the rest is recalling as quickly as possible back to the base. But they also need to heal. The Ukrainian team is not going to deny the healing though. The elephants can obviously make their way to the base, and now 9 units of the Polish team are inside. The repeating crossbows have been caught out, so they're going to be quickly cut down by incoming cavalry and infantry. So the attack on the Ukrainian base, the Ukrainian attack on the Polish base has been denied. Now all the units here are going to be cut down. That being said, the Ukrainian team are well on their way to the victory, as they're 1000 points ahead and gaining more points per second. B now will be contested by the Ukrainian cavalry. They have probably off available. Another cavalry here trying to deny the healing, but that not the Ukrainian team. Goddammit, I was almost Russian again. The Ukrainian team is looking to slowly go towards B, as they have realized that the Polish team has mostly pulled out of there. Obviously, that was forced by the base capture. So now the Polish team, after winning the contestation for the base, they had 2 choices: attack D or attack C, or well, they could have also attacked both, which is sort of what they're doing. They're sending foxes towards C. And again, the foxes are not really good in that area. There is quite a mismanagement, misplacement of resources. The cavalry and elephants are coming to D. They do have war cry available, so if they can apply enough flanks, that unit of spears could be routed on this Slaonidas, and it is. So yeah, your war cry strats are not going to work. We're waiting for the infantry to come, or at least the elephants. The Ukrainian team still has some units inside the base, but it's no longer going to matter. They're just holding the Polish team back from maybe contesting C. And B, yeah, they managed to rout well. They do have a lot of infantry in here. So the infantry, range superior, supported by the Scipio cavalry, able to provide a war cry, means the Polish 1 single unit that was defending B has been routed. So the Ukrainian team is now looking to control 4 points out of 5. E is completely undefended by the Polish team, and the Ukrainians are already sending their units towards there. So that looks like a, well, let's say not convincing victory by the Ukrainian team, as the Polish team has put a valiant fight for a good half of the battle, but in the second half of the battle, the Ukrainian team has definitely managed to outmaneuver the Polish team and in the end secure a victory. But the battle is still not over. The Polish team may look to, well, maybe capture C and go for the base. We have seen crazier shenanigans in many of, well, I've seen the crazier shenanigans in my battles, even the organized ones. So yeah, Let's see, E is being captured, completely undefended by the Polish team. They are sending a blob of spears, but that they are unblobbing. Trying to get onto E from multiple directions, only one unit capping it at the moment, but 3, 4, 5 soon to join. So E will go the way of Ukraine. Polish team is capturing A though. The Ukrainians are sending repeating crossbows in there, but that is definitely not going to be enough. They're shooting the Foxmen. Foxmen are dodging very nicely. Cavalry finding missing a charge into repeating crossbows. But here comes another unit of cavalry. The repeating crossbows are completely alone. So A is going to be at least flipped. Yep, there we go, it's flipped. But the Ukrainian the Ukrainian cavalry has made its way there. Do they have access to O though? They might have used it earlier on B. So let's see if... well, they're only facing another unit of cavalry, so yeah, A is going to just be contested and left like that. Polish team is nowhere near capturing as they do not have enough forces in there, and the Ukrainian team is sending more and more reinforcements of their own to that area, so they're looking to hold onto A. Well, they already sort of lost it as it has been flipped, but they're definitely not giving that to the Polish team. Polish team is looking to contest C, but again, the forces of the Ukrainian team are superior in the area. Polish team obviously has elephants, so they will be able to contest. Elephants cannot be stopped. If they want to walk on top of a point and start contesting it, they will. So the Ukrainian team decides to fight them in the mud, in the river, rather than giving the Polish team an advantageous fight on the edge while they are still on the dry ground. There we go, and only 1.1 points per second gained by the Ukrainian team, but they're only 100 points away, 90 points away from victory, and now E will be captured as soon as that unit routes. There we go, reflank applied. E captured will be Ukrainian in a few seconds, which will mean more points per second for the Ukrainian team, 2.6 now, and now they are going to win any second now. So this definitely lived up to the expectations of the battle of the round, or however you may call it. Definitely the closest battle in the tournament we have seen so far, but it is still only the first battle and only the first round. So we'll definitely see a lot of good battles to come. A really nice charge for the finish of the battle. So the Ukraine is leading 1-0 against the Polish team in the last match of round 1, and I'll see you in the second match. But until then, I'll also see you on Arena's Battlefields Commanders.